Hello all, Greg the Grilling Guy, back with another episode. Today we're cooking salmon. Now we're going to do this slightly differently. Normally when I do a salmon, I'll put it on a cedar plank and put it on the barbecue and let the flames cook at the cedar and provide some smoke. But I did have a request from someone in the comments to do a pan-seared salmon. Now I'm going to prepare the salmon in here, but I won't be cooking it behind me because the salmon is going to stink the house up and my wife is not going to be happy with that. So I'm going to be cooking that outside on the grill. But we're going to start with the preparation. Now the salmon is a protein, so you're going to want to brine this. We are going to dry brine it, and that's going to be using a bit of salt. Now the difference between salmon and say a steak, I said the steak you're going to dry brine for 4 hours when you prepare that. This you're not going to do as long, maybe 30 minutes to an hour and a half max. The reason being it will get kind of salty after a certain point. So we're going to score it. It does have the skin on the back. So we're actually going to score the skin so that we can get some of the salt in there. But I'm going to leave the skin on while I cook. The reason to score the salmon is twofold. To help with the brine, as I explained, and also to allow for some contraction without actually bending the fish so that it doesn't curl as it cooks. So in scoring the fish, we're just going to put some small cuts in here, maybe about a ½ inch down through the skin. So with the skin all scored, we're now going to put some of the salt in for the brining. Now, obviously, there's not a lot of reason to put a lot of brine over the scales because it isn't going to absorb anything in there. But this is going to allow the center of the fish to catch a bit of that brine. And the same way we do with the steak, we're just going to do a high sprinkle over just to make sure that we get the fish entirely covered. We are going to put some seasoning on it as well. But because typically I would put a brown sugar seasoning on there, but because we're going to be pan-searing it, I don't want to put any type of a sugar because it'll burn when it hits the hot cast iron. So we'll put this in the fridge, we'll put some seasoning on it, and then we'll take it outside. For the salmon, as I mentioned, I don't want to put anything too heavy on there with sugar because it will burn. So I'm just going to sprinkle on a little basic salt and pepper, sprinkle with a bit of garlic in there. I'm not going to do both sides because obviously the skin side is not going to absorb any of the flavoring. So it's that simple. We'll put it on the grill and we'll take it from there. So today we're cooking the salmon, as I mentioned, in a cast iron pot. This is a flat bottom cast iron pot because I want to make sure that I'm getting the full cooking surface onto the salmon. So I've got it preheated. It's over about a medium to high heat initially. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in there to help the salmon cook and so that it doesn't stick. But for the most part, I'm going to keep this very simple until the end. So I say a little bit of olive oil. Let that warm for just a second. And unfortunately, I built my barbecue slab out here and I'm no contractor. So therefore, everything tends to slide towards the bottom of the pan. So you kind of learn to work around it. When you're not that good at that kind of stuff, you simply make excuses. We're going to take the salmon, we're going to put it in face down to start out with. So I kind of want to get that cook going on that side. And we're going to leave it here for maybe 2 to 3 minutes. You're going to be able to see it start to whiten up as it cooks, and that's going to get to about halfway. At that point, we're going to flip it. So it's been about 3 minutes. It's not quite halfway done just yet, but I'm going to flip it because I'm going to flip it a couple times just for a good measure. Yeah, don't do that. Let that flip of the salmon show you. Just because you have a cooking channel on YouTube doesn't mean you're not an idiot. All right, we're getting near the end of the cook here. So one thing I want to pass along, use these silicone grips for the cast iron because you're going to want to pick these things up and twist them to the side, and they do get hot and they will burn through a glove. Kind of like the flip, you learn things the hard way in this business. So we're going to take this and we're going to put a bit of garlic butter in as a finisher. Now here's the secret. I'm going to use some rosemary. I'm going to use some rosemary and use it almost as a brush. I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to turn the heat down to probably medium low just so that I don't burn myself. And
use this to brush the butter on because I don't want to put too much butter on there, but I want to give it the flavor. And with the rosemary, it'll put a bit of an aromatic on there as well. And that is really going to be the secret to a really tasty bit of salmon. That should be good. We're going to turn the heat off, get ready to plate that and take it inside. So hopefully you learned something. As I say, you can do this inside. I did it outside because, well, I'm afraid of my wife. Let's be honest with you. Who isn't? So until next time, I'm Greg, the grilling guy, telling you grill it real good.